Good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you are. And welcome to Requiem for London Chronicles, the City of Martyrs, Chapter 2. And we begin our scene at Shady Oaks Cemetery. The cemetery has changed quite greatly in the past few weeks. There is more movement, more activity in this cold, dead place. Life seems to be springing back into this humble place. Business, industry, dead bodies. We zoom in on this now refreshed, vitalized cemetery on one Joseph, who's enjoying the new benefits from his investors.
Enjoying them to a certain degree. Joseph is currently sitting in his office looking over some paperwork from, well, that his new allies in the Invictus have sent him over. Paperwork he has not yet signed due to the fact that certain clauses within dictate that under certain circumstances, the cemetery could change hands from ownership of Joseph's to the Invictus and their, well, puppet corporation if he does not deliver on the amount of bodies getting buried and burned. But he has not brought this up to the attention or called meeting with any with Arthur yet. Instead, he has put them away in his desk and he is enjoying a glass of wine currently, looking out through his window and seeing his new staff roaming around on the grounds, from the new undertaker to the more one of the morticians that he hired to help dispose of the corpses. What the night. He goes back from his window and he sits down at his desk for just a moment, gathers a few of his things, and leaves his office in his home, and just begins to wander outside on the grounds, just making his usual rounds. He knows he has staff to do this, but he always finds it enjoyable when he's able to find the teenagers who broke in and they're smoking pot or drinking, so he can run them off, scaring the living hell out of them.
You do this. You walk amongst the calm sort of chill of the night air, the smell of the forest, the smell of stone and marble that surrounds you. And you walk, and as you do walk, you notice that, yes, you see the Shady Oak Cemetery, you see the staff, you see the individuals coming and going, some mourning, some not, some examining, some maintaining. And of course, but as you walk, you notice something sort of strange. You always had the ability to hide yourself, to make yourself somewhat unnoticed, but it's strange. The past few nights, people react to you as if you were a ghost, as if your presence wasn't even noticed at all, and it's as if you yourself, nothing more than a ghost, stalking, haunting the graveyard, the cemetery, watching the living mourning over their departed. And on one of these particular moments, and yeah, of course, you do notice the comings and goings of the new Invictus staff presenting new bodies to cater, to deal with. And let's simply say, upon watching a particular mourner, somewhat in the distance, who you've just walked past, who you've walked in front of, who seems not able to notice you. And with this, you hear a voice behind you, a voice that just sort of whispers silently. Hello there, brother.
I turn at this point.
And As you turn, you see nothing. It's as if a whisper behind you, a whisper that sort of emanates from around the cemetery. But as you sort of spin and turn, you then recognize this figure who seems to be sitting on top of one of the tombstones. And of course, he's long claws, very long fangs, and he wears this sort of bizarre sort of not dress, sort of attire, dress attire, and this sort of 50s style hat and a bow tie. And he seems to look at you and he lights the cigarette very cautiously, very carefully, and blows it, and smoke bellows outwards. Ah, I'm told you're Joseph. Is that right?
See?
I'm Knox, the humble boss of this little unit. I work for Arthur.
Your friend of Arthur's? Pleasure to meet you, senor.
Greetings. Humble, what's it, Spaniard am I detecting there?
See?
Sunny Spain. I long to visit, but I burn quite easily.
I assure you, sir, you do not wish to visit Spain at this time. Well, last I heard of it, Lonquet Sanctum causing too much of a stir down there right now.
Oh, those religious nut jobs, always causing a fuss when not needed. Well, and he kind of jumps off the tombstone, dusts himself down slightly, and then puts out his hand. Oh, yeah, sorry, he raises his hand.
He raises his hand, and I'll do this in one moment. I shake his hand very firmly. He feels the calluses like in my hands, the rough, leathery skin that I've begun to wear in my dwindling humanity. Though still looking vaguely human, I am looking more and more corpse-ish every day.
He will notice this. And of course, he looks quite freakish as well. But again, you can. Oh, by the way, you can instantly tell this is a Nosferatu.
Oh yeah, I can tell.
Fellow of the blood. There's a tiny bit of blood sympathy, but very distant kind of blood sympathy. Very sort of distant cousins, distant relatives of some sort. And he sort of shakes your hand, but even by Nosferatu standards, yes, you are quite. And he looks to you, times have been tough on you, my friend. You seem quite close to the ugly part of our nature.
I have seen and done too many things that I do not wish to discuss, is all. But hell, that's all of us, isn't it?
Hell is what we make of it, brother. Hell is what we make of it. I make a dime and a buck.
And, well, and I have shovel and bone. That's my hell.
Well, like they've always said, death and taxes, my friend. It's always business and death and taxes. Business seems to be booming for you.
Yes, it is. I finally got the old girl up and running here.
Yeah.
Ever since the previous owner, my boss, passed away, it was 7 years ago now. I did not get to attend his funeral, sadly. About 10 years back, when I first moved to the city and then had to leave shortly thereafter, I was actually working in this cemetery as a mortician. I was not the owner.
I was told about that. He was here before the Night of Storms, the holy reckoning for our kind. I am curious. Do you know anything of what happened?
Oh, no. I fled the city much before the storm happened. I had to run anchored a member of our clan. You might you might know his name, the Bunny.
Oh, with that, he pauses and like he actually puts out the cigarette and sort of dumps it in front of him, going, "Oh, the bunny, yeah. Anyone worth his dirt knows of the bunny. He's the child of the Stitches, the monster that hides under the bed, the great grandfather of the Nosferatu.
Yep.
Wow, that's a hell of an enemy to make, my friend."
He was petty and childish. He got what was coming to him in the end.
Well, it's sad to hear that one of the nasty critters of our blood was taken, but well, that leaves more room for us, I guess.
He was a fool. He made a fool's decision, and he bled as a result. I just wish I was the one who had got to push in the knife.
Well, you'll be surprised you may get your chance. Our kind does have a hard time staying dead.
That is true, but that is one that I wish to stay in the ground now. Like the bastards I'm burning here.
Well, look, one blood to another. I'll keep my ear to the ground, my eye to the sky. I'll see if I hear anything. But as you were saying about bodies, yes, I get distracted. I'm here on business. I'm here to check on you and my staff, making sure things are tickety-boo.
He smiles at that phrase. I like your choice of language, sir. But yes, we are making sure the quotas are being met. Everyone is staying on key. No, none of my staff are slacking off. And if I do catch them, they will be reprimanded quite harshly. Just to save on space, I have made the conscious decision that all bodies, whether they be human or revenant, all are put in the same furnaces.
Do you mind if we walk and talk?
Yes.
I'd like to see this furnace for myself. I'm a detailed man. I like to see everything.
Yes, just please follow me. And from there, Joseph takes Knox and leads him down a pathway out through the trees and away from. It's in an area that's much further away from the main funeral home. The crematory is centered in in a clearing beyond the trees, kind of a circular clearing, and it is a very large brick building, red brick building, kind of interestingly enough, more or less in a style that is colonial looking. And he brings Knox inside and down into the basements of. It's very dark. It's very clean down here, though, and there is a very large central furnace that is stationed in the middle of here, with pipes going up and around all over the place on the ceiling to release the burning ashes. And one of his staff members is down here, actually, as of current. They are currently in the process of burning a body of a young woman, I would probably say. Prostitute-looking girl. No one will remember her. And they're taking precautions as to make sure that the bodies burn the correct way. They are not just throwing them in instantly, because that will cause problems. They're being drained of fluids. They're being drained of blood, and just being made properly set to be thrown in. Here we are.
As you're doing all this, and as the staff are talking to you, acknowledge you, and again, your staff, they do react odd to you. Again, your appearance, the way you come across, you intimidate them, but they consider you more like an eccentric, like a strange weirdo eccentric that's got a fetish for owning a cemetery, but you're paying their checks.
Yeah, I'm paying their checks. These people need the money. I'm probably
they're being paid above average. They're being paid quite a bit for what the work they're doing. Because of the backing, the investment, and they're happy. They're happy with it.
Yeah, and they don't ask questions.
They don't ask questions, which is one of the key things. And as you're talking to him, you do notice that Knox always lingers behind you. He never acknowledges anyone, never looks directly at anyone, and the people don't seem to notice him there. Or they do notice him there, but they don't quite see him or don't quite care. And this is a trick of the Nosferatu, the ability to just blend in, the ability just to appear in the background and not be noticed.
When the staff aren't looking, I sort of just motion to Knox to come with me into another room, basically so we can talk away from these people. And I bring him into a small sitting room. It's basically like it's a break room in the crematory. Not many people like to go to this one, however. I set it up here mainly just because it gives me some peace of mind to rest when I'm done with putting one of the revenants through the burner. But there's a collection of books that are sat around in here, some of them philosophical, basically a lot of like Nietzschean sort of things, just a lot of philosophy books, a couple of fiction tales, and there is also a radio in here as well for music. And I offer him a seat at this point, and I also bring out a bottle of wine, not Vitae, but actually no. I say I would try to find a bottle of Vitae. I would at least have one at this point, I would think.
We'll say for now you just have one. You've kept.
Yeah,
you've kept it.
It's an old thing. I don't break it out occasionally. Yeah. Well, I do break it out occasionally, but I offer him.
Vitae contained in a very specialist kind of. Well, it's actually I simply say it was an Aldo Dracul draft Vitae. The bottle itself is designed to keep the Vitae fresh and secure. A gift, perhaps, from your former mentor. A happy gift. You only drink on very rare occasion. Yes, oh dear old Greg.
Whatever the hell happened to him, I don't know.
God only knows. But there you go. And it's a simple... very nice vintage, and of course it keeps whatever properties, magical or scientific, seems to keep the Vitae fresh.
Yes, and I offer Knox a glass of it.
He looks, because it's like, oh wow, that is a rare thing to find such a Vitae. As soon as you open the Vitae, you can smell it. It's a very fine vintage with age, and of course, only Aldo Dracul or certain specific kin you could be able to
acquire something like this.
Yes, to acquire something like that. And he just looks going, oh my dear brother, such a fine offer. And he sort of sits down, readies him. So he's like a kid, excited, like, oh, such a fine vintage. It's something quite special.
I pour him a very tall glass, as well as myself a very tall one too. I also this is, I mean, technically it's not legally allowed, but I don't give a damn. It's my property. I also get out a box of cigars, and I offer him a nice one.
He is a smoker, so he does look at them, and it's a helpful reminder of one's mortality, even the pretend of one, perhaps. And he he looks nods and goes, "Ah, you spoil me now, Joseph." And he grabs one of the cigars and he tries to smell it, or at least pretends to smell it and gain a satisfaction. But again, it's the horrid curse. Such things are not as sweet, not as tasteful as they were once in the living life. But he pretends anyway because it helps.
Yes. I
Helps us
take
all
one
at
of
ease and reminds her of our younger days. And,
I
if,
take
if he does try to light it, he does it from a distance. He does it from a very long distance.
Yeah, I actually do have probably one of those like long barbecue lighters that we use for this.
Actually, I think you don't have to worry about that.
Oh well, I don't, but
Yeah, oh yeah, he
I
does. He does. Yeah, yeah.
I keep barbecue lighters around though because you know those long ones that
Mhm.
you use. Yeah, just because I know I'm going to have guests and they would rather not burn themselves.
Fair enough. No, yeah. Again, he's very cautious. That's from a distance, and then once it's sort of lit, then he begins. The blush of health activates, and actually, once the blush of health activates, he's not that monstrous anymore. His nails kind of fade slightly. The teeth retract quite a bit, and he does come across somewhat human, but a very odd-looking human, very strange-looking.
Something that could still pass though.
Still pass in public, but
yeah, like I.
You're still a lot worse because you're a bit low. Your beasties are poking out a lot more due to the recent things, recent nights.
Yes.
Dealings.
And I light mine and I smoke it, but I look at him and just to respond to his comment of spoiling him, I just say, "Senor Knox, you're my guest. It's my job to spoil guests."
I'll take note. For the Invictus and for the sense of clan and brotherhood, I hope that one day I will repay such hospitality.
No repayment needed, senor. I take a long puff of the cigar at this point and just basically I puff out like a ring of smoke from it. And just I sit down and take a long swig of the Vitae. Very crisp, very cool. It is. Would you say this is alcoholic? Like there is alcohol mixed into this.
Yeah,
all right.
All of Graves's bottles of Vitae that he aged would be somewhat alcoholic, actually somewhat strong, fairly strong alcohol. He'd always brew his bottles with quite a strong Vitae. Alcoholic Vitae to it, but not enough to completely mull you in any way. But it's just there's a definite tinge, and it actually enhances the flavor.
Yes, and that's I sigh a breath of relief. But as I do that, something does happen. Even when I sigh that breath of relief, that is would be quite unsettling to any human who saw it. Just a freezing like. It's almost like my breath is like a hot breath hitting the freezing cold air, even though it is not like like frost or something like that. Even though it is not cold.
Your breath comes out very cold and fast, and far more than what the room temperature would allow for some reason.
Yeah, that it shouldn't be possible scientifically.
No, that's great. I think that's a great to describe the beast there. So it's the beast emerging slightly in its own little way of the taste and enjoyment of what you have. Yes, the Knox will notice this. And he'll lean. Your man, it seems to like the finer things in life. I'm used to such company, being with the Invictus and all.
Yes, I do enjoy many of the fine things in life. It's one of the reasons people find me so strange. Us too. We would be looked at by a deva and they would be confused. Nosferatu wearing fine clothing, drinking fine vitae, and smoking fine cigars. Those bastards think we all run around in the sewers and act like mad beasts. I've always hated the stereotype.
Well, there you have a brother in arms. You are preaching to the choir here. I totally agree. I am often looked down upon due to my clan. due to my status, but well, it seems a more value of what we can do opposed to what we look like. The Invictus invest a lot on ability.
Yes, I can respect them for that. This is why I've decided to work with them after all. There is a mutual respect for one another.
I was told about Arthur's arrangement with you and that unfortunate night you had at the, I believe, the hospital, Bain Hospital.
Yes, the hospital.
But I'm sure that after seeing such event, that you understand why we are in need of a disposer.
I understand completely. I just wish that Caleb could have survived. Third ghoul I've lost.
We have all lost ghouls at one point or another. They serve their purpose, but it still does not hurt less, I guess.
Knox might notice something when he says serve their purpose. Like Joseph's eye, like he's not looking directly at him, but right when he says serve their purpose, his eye twitches, like just slightly.
Yeah, if it's noticeable, he will notice it and change the subject. Again, he's a smooth talker. He knows how to operate. But you said you wanted to talk about the business. I'm most impressed about what you've done here. You have used the Invictus's resources very well, very efficient.
I thank you. But I do wish to discuss the papers, and I pull them out of my my coat at this point. And I set them on the table in front of us.
Yeah, these are thick. These are thick papers. They're pretty. Yeah, these Invictus papers are always massive, thick, lots of documents.
Yes.
Co-signed, pre-signed, initial here, initial there, initial here.
Yes. And I was reading through these tonight, but and I was about to sign. I noticed a few things in here that I just wish to discuss with a representative such as yourself.
Well, I just work for the boss, man, but I'm happy to relay any information you wish to pass. He's a very busy individual. His time is somewhat precious.
I understand. I just want to make sure that I understand and he understands everything with this deal. And there is something in these papers that worries me slightly, is that under this clause in this subsection right here, it states that in very vague terms, if I do not reach my quota and under certain circumstances, I could be bought out by the Invictus, Senor. But I could lose my business entirely here.
Okay, let's just do a roll here. So this would be your wit and empathy.
All right.
Versus this person's composure and subterfuge. Manipulation. Subterfuge. That's probably best, actually. The composure. Oh, I'll pick the lowest one.
Let me check something here.
So it'd be composure is. There's going to be 6 dice for this individual.
Oh boy.
He is very good at what he does.
All ones.
I haven't. Oh, sorry. You know what? I posted in the chat another link because the previous one doesn't work. It's not working anymore. So I must admit I have not seen that. At the bottom of the chat, just before your last comment, there should be a roles link.
Wait, what are you talking? No, I've got the what?
No, the role room you're in at the moment, I can't see. I don't have access.
Oh, okay.
Because I had to log back in previously. Sorry about this. Just
okay.
Second to bottom last comment on the chat. I'll post it right now in the chat. If you could roll in this because I can see that.
All right. Didn't know it times out like that.
Yeah, sorry. I because I got out earlier and had to come back in. It's sort of logged me out of that.
May I spend a willpower point?
Yes, you may. Please note it down as willpower expenditure. But yes, you may. So that is 3 extra dice.
All right. Oh, that gives me 3 extra dice?
Yes. If you spend 1 willpower point, it gives you 3 extra dice to roll in a dice roll.
Oh, okay. So we are going to be evenly matched then.
Yeah, but you are spending that extra kind of forcible to do it. So I'll just roll his dice first.
All right.
Oh, that's not possible. That's not possible.
You didn't put in the D10.
Oh, I didn't. Yes, that's what I was going to say. Fuck, sorry, I apologize. I literally just rolled like 60 10s. That doesn't make sense. So I was thinking, yes, that's not possible.
I was like, okay, I should just give up now.
Sorry about that. 6 D10s. So I typed 10 and not D10. So I just got 6 10s. Even I must admit I'm not that lucky. Okay, here we go.
Oh,
6
God,
D10. Oh, God, it's still good.
Ah!
Still got 5 successes. Oh.
And you can reroll 2 of those.
Yes, I can reroll 2. This I don't know what is with me. No, that's really random. I still roll as well anyway. I want my players to roll these dice rolls, but I keep rolling them. It's really bad. All right, repeat. 2d10. Oh, this might be no. He's only got the 3 there. Oh no, 4. Sorry, 4 successes. So you just need 5 successes to beat him. It's possible. It's possible. You never know. I roll very lucky, so you may roll as well.
Well, I can re-roll 1 die.
1 die. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
I have to get like 5 10s
you have
now.
To get like 5 10s now, which I think
it's not happening.
It's possible. You never know. You never know.
No.
Oh, two successes. So he still beats you, unfortunately. So I apologize for that. It's a bit of complication there, but yeah, he looks to you and to your character. He just looks very surprised and just goes, "Oh, I can't believe that they're going to gobble you up if you didn't deliver on time. That's the Invictus. They're just such traitors like that sometimes. I'm sure that's just a misunderstanding. I'll speak to my boss. I'll make sure it gets resolved. But yeah, we'll continue. We'll continue as the operation goes for now, per se, until this matter is resolved.
All I'm asking, Senor Knox, all I'm asking is that we clear something up, that I and Arthur understand what behind the quota means. I mean, that could be anything from 1 body behind the quota to 10 bodies behind the quota, but I do not know. It does not clearly state here in the contract, and I just wish to have everything stated in clear and simple terms.
Like I said, I'm not quite the bookworm such as yourself, but the Invictus always have policies if their providers, their investments don't perform to their specifics, they get liquidated, as it were.
I understand that, and I know
standard policy.
I know I'm making a deal with a Faustian bargain here somewhat, but I just need to know what it means to be behind on quota. Again, it's not clearly stated, senor. I'm a man who just needs to understand to have an understanding with my employers. That is all. I'm not here. I'm not here to try to start a union or something. Far from it.
When you say the word union, his ears peak up slightly. Oh, that's from the old days. That is. He just goes, "Oh, look. Keep processing, keep delivering on target as the quotas come in. I will look over this contract with my boss and make sure it gets resolved. And as a favor from blood to blood, I'll make sure you come ahead."
Thank you, senor. It's always good to know. It's always good to have friends in these times.
Oh, of course, of course. Leave it with me. I'll see to the matter. Just make sure you keep them bodies rolling.
Oh, we shall. We shall keep the bodies burning.
And he's gonna continue talking for a bit more until something happens, but he'll ask more personal questions as he looks to you. Well, let's raise a toast. And he raises his glass.
I raise mine.
Holds his cigar. Just to blood and to new opportunities, the Invictus.
I'll drink to that, and I clink glasses with him, and I down my drink at this point.
Yeah, he downs it as well because it's freaking great. Oh, it's gorgeous. He literally and even spills a bit of it, but of course, the somewhat long tongue comes out of his mouth and just licks up what's left on his mouth and his chin and just absorbs it in. But then he politely puts it away. But he's so used to being in very polite company, but he realizes that it doesn't matter too much. What's a bit of monstrousness to blood brothers? And he looks to you as after he drinks this and goes, but I'm still don't quite understand. What's your investment here? Why come back to the city that's so troublesome, so mortal?
Well, Nox, I have very personal reasons for coming back here, and I have also very scholarly reasons for coming back to the city of London. I have spent too much time in Yorkshire for the past several years. It's where I met my dearly deceased ghoul, Caleb Khan. I did some work while I was up there, tried to study the supernatural, but there wasn't enough. It was too human. It was just vampires, and I need to find something more than that. I need to study more. It is what keeps me invested in immortality. And I have, again, personal reasons I do not wish to discuss, but the occult is what drives me, really. And now I have a new drive as well. This, what are they called again? I keep forgetting the name. The Brotherhood of Light or some religious garbage like that.
Oh, you mean the Enlightened, as they call themselves?
Yes, them. I have another reason to begin studying. It is these individuals. They know too much about us. They shouldn't know about us. And I need to know how much they know about us. Because this is a threat to us as not just a society, but as a species. And it frightens me.
He takes note of that. He nods. It's so good to hear Kindred actually taking a responsible approach to his community, his fellow Kindred's well-being. And you are correct. How they know so much about us and how they hunt us is strange, at least.
I have a theory as to what could be maybe how they understand about us, but I have no fact to back it up again. It sounds more conspiratorial, and but I keep thinking about it every night. Is that these enlightened, the fact they know so much, they know our weaknesses, they know how to fight us. They're not just simple hunters. I have run afoul of hunters before, and hunters are very narrow-minded individuals. They seem to know us on a deeper level. And what I think is that either they are not completely human themselves.
Oh, that is an interesting theory. A very, very interesting theory.
Would not be the first time something like this has happened. I've heard stories. My sire, before he left for Carpathia, told me many things. He stories of werewolf cults and crazed mages running around and worshipping the devil and all these other fantastical things. I didn't believe all of them at first, but what can I say? The old man's old stories are seeming more and more plausible every night.
I always see truth as progress. One never just learns the truth. It takes time. You have to work your way to it gradually, bit by bit, day by day. And I've always found that welcoming in the Invictus. You learn a bit of the truth. Each task you perform, each day you serve, a little bit of the cog you grow, you get bigger. More comes down the grapevine. And I hope that you will see this in the Invictus, that we're not keepers of truth, not hiders of secrets, but slow revealers to those worthy.
You've given me a different perspective already, Knox. I've never trusted the Invictus wholly. How can you? But you, on the other hand, I see your point of view and I can understand it.
The Carthians speak nonsense to each other. They call it truth. The Circle preach religion, does the La Sanctum, and even the Ordo Dracul. They make you beg, make you earn secrets for yourself. But the Invictus, we'll give it to you. Once you've done the work, once you've proved yourself loyal. Time is our price. Of simple, cheap cost to a kindred.
I can understand that. Was there anything else you would like to see on the grounds by any chance?
No, I'm taking up too much of your time. And actually, he will continue to sort of apologize and say, oh, I've got to go and thank you for the hospitality. But you will hear some noise upstairs. You'll hear a ruckus. You'll hear something happen. One of your staff members will scream or shout.
Oh, if I hear a scream, I look at Knox and I immediately I stand up at that point, unholster one of my guns, and I kick the door down and start running up the stairs.
Oh, yeah, Knox is just calm as anything. Doesn't react, doesn't seem to care. Just sits back, twirls in the chair as you kind of run.
I run upstairs.
As you run upstairs, you approach the sort of the main furnace area, and as you approach the main furnace area, there's just a point where it's just one member of staff. There's just one person there, and it seems that there were some security or other individuals there, but they've just gone outside to get more bodies or to do something different. And she's left on her own, and she's actually just sort of, there's a kind of a queue of these corpses that are getting ready to go into the furnace. And she is wrestling with this corpse that's kind of somehow either not been staked or has unstaked themselves or something, and it's kind of getting themselves up, screaming at the woman, like clenching at her, going, "Please!" And as you get up and you pull your gun or you see the situation, you see this female laying there, grasping. Oh wait, image invalid. Why? For some reason my stupid computer's not doing the thing properly.
Can you send it to me through Facebook if it doesn't work?
Yeah, hold on. No. I should be able to do it manually. Hold on. Yeah, you see this situation of a struggle as this individual is fighting and grasping. Hold on 1 second. I do apologize.
Did you say the corpse that she was struggling with was saying, please, please, no?
Yes, and the corpse, I'll find the image, but basically the corpse that is struggling and fighting with her in place, saying, please, please, no, is, here we go. I have it here. Go away. Is this female, is the doctor from the morgue who was trying to hide from the corpses, trying to hide from the revenants that did devour her, the one that you fled before trying to rescue. And she's holding this woman, and she's actually speaking quite normally, quite rationally, going, "Don't burn me. What are you doing? Please say, don't burn me. What are you doing?"
I, at this point, aim my gun at her and I say, "Let go."
At who? Sorry, the woman or the individual?
The woman who's the corpse.
Oh, the corpse. Yeah, the corpse just looks at you. Go, what happened? I was working, and you was there, and then they came for me. No, I'm not dead. I'm fine. I'm fine. Why are you? Yeah, and the flames are kind of behind her. The furnace is
looking her up and down. Does she appear? I mean, I saw her get ripped apart.
Yeah. She's been kind of stitched back together. Limbs. She's a Frankenstein-looking kind of monster, and she's not alive. There is no heartbeat. There is no blood in her. There is no. Your kindred senses tell you that
this is a revenant.
And she is a revenant, but
she's speaking normally. That's the thing. I've never.
She has this rational sort of moment of clarity about her at the moment as she's speaking to you. And
I look at her at this point, and I just look at her and I say, "Madam, you have two options here. You can let go of her, and I can put you out of your misery as quickly and painlessly as I possibly can. Or you can continue to resist, and I will not make it easy for you." You are dead, madam. You died. I saw you die. You were ripped apart by those corpses, and they feasted upon your blood, and now you have come back as one of them.
I'm not dead. I'm here. You're crazy. You're mad. You're crazy. You're mad. This is some sort of scheme. You're trying to kill me. No.
I didn't.
And she's getting more kind of outbursty and
But she's still holding on to my staff member.
Your staff member's freaking out, and she's kind of crying and frozen because this corpse has just like grabbed her and is about to. And she's freaking out. She's like somewhat is going to pass out in a minute type sort of situation.
I basically, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use Nightmare on the corpse.
Yeah, you can use Nightmare on the corpse if you wish.
Yeah. What's the dice pool for it? I got to pull
Oh, God damn. Sorry, I had the book.
I accidentally closed out my character sheet.
Oh, no.
I had
to get the rule book out for some reason. Hold on 1 second. I've got it on the screen, and I shall look down. Nightmare, I believe you're using like Nightmare level 2 or 3.
Yes, and I do have Unsettling Gaze, which I believe helps the roll.
Oh yeah, I think that adds to your intimidation dice. I think it's a I'm sure it's your presence plus intimidation plus your Nightmare dots. Versus this person's resolve and blood potency.
And plus an Unsettling Gaze.
Unsettling Gaze, I'll allow you to plus an extra 2 dice.
Okay. So presence there. Yeah,
I could look it up. It's going to take ages, and I'm sure that's what the dice roll is.
2, 2, 4, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 dice. Jesus.
It's 9 dice, but for every success, it grants you an ability. And this person does roll her resolve, and due to the situation, because she's already terrified as it is, I'll give her an extra 2 dice for sake.
8. 2 successes.
Don't worry, I'll roll about 10 dice in a second. Hold on.
Oh, you get 10.
No, I don't. I'm just saying I probably will roll 10 dice. Right. It's
of course you will.
Resolve is 3. I'm going to add an extra 2 dice. It's 5 dice. Let's see. So I just rolled so lucky. I don't know why. No, I don't. Not in this case. So
thank God.
You succeed. So what fear?
Hold on 1 second. What?
Oh. Yeah, so to describe the scene for our players, yes, this person
Sorry
is
about
holding.
That.
Oh yeah, sorry. She's holding this woman and is kind of. She's trying to justify herself that she is alive. She's not dead. Why would she be dead? She's not dead. I'm living. Why are you saying such things? And she's getting more angry, more confused, more aggressive. And the woman in front of her is like just tears and terrified at this kind of mangled Frankenstein-looking corpse that's grabbing her. And it's kind of like a rolling tray as these corpses all kind of slowly being processed into this large furnace that's just behind her. And yes, you use your abilities. So what do you do?
Well, I'm using Nightmare 2, so I am embodying one of her fears at this point. I basically, as I would explain it, I don't become just one of her fears. Well, I do become one of her fears, but instead of her seeing Joseph at this point, she instead sees several corpses. The corpses that ripped her apart, that murdered her and her friends. And they are all looking at her hungrily. And she knows that they are going to kill her over and over and over again. This fear, this intense paranoia, this insanity that I have placed in her, mind. And maybe there is only one way out of this.
Oh yeah, she sees this, and instantly her eyes go glare over. Her eyes go still as she sees the scene that you present before her. The woman, she lets go of her, and she just stumbles back, falls backwards, and scurries across the floor back towards the corner of the room. And as the scene unveils, she just screams and calls out, going, "No, no, 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 not again, no, never again, never again." And she sort of turns, she jumps off the slab, the table, and unveils like this corpse, this put together corpse that's been ripped apart and stitched back. Her limbs are sort of working and not working. And as she sort of cries and begs for help, like, "Someone save me, someone please save me, stop this." And then she sees the furnace behind her, and there is a sense of purpose, a sense of decision. No more of this suffering. And with that, she just turns to you, looks in absolute fear and repulsion, and then just jumps into the furnace, into the large furnace of one of the other corpses. You hear her cries, you hear her screams as her body quickly turns to ash and burns into smoke that puffs steadily and fast up the chimney. And with this scene, your staff member in the corner of the room is crying and tearful at this sort of fearful image that you kind of present yourself. She doesn't see what you have presented, but she knows something strange has gone on. The lights dim, the lights flicker, the bricks kind of go slimy, the walls themselves grow more moss, more decay as you use your disciplines, you use your abilities in this place, your haven, your homestead, your property. And with that, the scene is presented with you standing there, with Knox smiling behind you. He walks towards the woman and goes, I'll deal with her. We have ways to make people forget their troubles.
As long as you don't hurt her.
We Invictus never damage our assets.
Good.
Remember that.
It was a mercy what I did. I just say that, not to Knox, but more just to myself.
I think we may have to do a roll there later, but as you say that, he just nods and goes, it's all just good business. Good business. And death is booming in London. I'll see you later, Joseph. I'll give my report to my boss.
Have a good night, Senor Knox.
He just tips his hat and he kind of picks the woman up, who's still just terrified. And he kind of like twirls her or twists her around in a sort of bizarre dance and then grabs her and then goes, let's go, baby. And with that, they kind of vanish. They sort of disappear. They kind of just evaporate or turn into smoke. And you just hear footsteps and you hear a door slam, you hear movement. And you are left alone in this basement at the moment. A staff will approach, staff will come in to make sure it's safe or secure. And the process will keep continuing. So final thoughts.
A lot is coming. Joseph, oh boy. Gotta make the best of a bad situation. That's all I gotta say. I think with that, we shall end the scene.
All right, just final notes. We'll simply say we'll zoom out of the scene of this cemetery, Shady Oaks. And as we zoom out, we see before us the furnace and the great vast cemetery and forest that surrounds it, and the chimney that blasts out the smoke that spills an ash that humbly settles amongst the gravestones, amongst the trees, amongst the forest, amongst the mourners. You merely see it as just snowflakes. With that, I'm happy to end scene.